It's undoubtedly one of the most iconic venues in the country, Sun City. Millions flock to the luxury resort every year for a million thrills, and this time, the thrills were provided by the Force Fuel 450, the fifth leg of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship. Sun City provided the perfect backdrop for what is a world-class event, and competitors went all out to ensure their vehicles were in perfect condition ahead of the race.
The thing is, we get a good crowd out here. It's a real family event, this one as well. And I think with the new Force Fuel sponsorship that's on board for this event, it's again, it would be nice to win it for the first time. So, yeah, we're going to give it all.
Leading the way in the production vehicles, Team Castrol Toyota Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy. Force Fuel is a key part of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship, and executive Luke Porter is an integral part of the competition.
It's looking good for this race. The vehicle is spectacular. She's felt better than she has in a long time. So we're going to go out and have some fun today. That's what the main point is.
Hard to recognize Luke behind that beard. Now, two people who are extremely easy to recognize are Jeannie D and John Smith, the presenter and rugby player taking up the Imperial Auto Celeb Challenge.
I think what's going to happen is John Smith is starting before me. He's basically going to clear the road for me so that I would then have a clear path to overtake him at a later stage.
I've already mentioned it. That is the right thing to do. It is the polite thing to do for a lady. But yeah, I flip a huge amount of nerves.
Our first ever celeb doubleheader. Can't wait. Taylor and Murphy lead the way in the Production Vehicle Championship on 100 points. 28 clear of the horns from Malalan Toyota, Johan and Werner.
Moving to the specials, it's the end of an era as Herman Sulvolters hung up his helmet.
I actually was supposed to navigate for Wichert on the Sun City as a last race. But after the desert, and we've done good. We've won it 2 years in a row. First year as the driver, and second year as a navigator. Good for him as well. I just thought maybe it's a good time to stop it now. And I wish them all the luck. I really enjoyed it. I will always be part of the sport. But I think I had my innings. I'm done.
Herman calls it a day with his son Wichert in 6th place in the Special Vehicle Category Championship, while Quinton and Cully Silval top the standings on 69 points, 10 ahead of Gerard and Hartus du Plessis.
The time for talking is over. It's time to get the racing underway. And of course, first up, qualifying at the Force Fuel 450 at Sun City.
Plenty of eyes on Castrol Toyota's Taylor and Murphy, who have been in exceptional form throughout 2014, and the pair didn't disappoint. Quickest in qualifying amongst the productions in a time of 1 hour, 14 minutes and 4 seconds.
In second spot, the men from Malalan, Johan and Werner Horn. They've enjoyed a tremendous 2014 since making the step up to Class T. And they've had a good run in qualifying, despite taking a tree with them along the way.
Gary Berthold and Siegfried Rousseau from Atlas Copco Ford Racing in 3rd place. The pair enjoyed a clean run, riding the wave of momentum following their Dakar Challenge victory.
Willem Vos and Werner Weiss in 4th place, a fantastic effort given that they're competing in Class S in their BMW in only their 2nd event this season.
Christian Deploy and Henk Janssen van Vieren in the RFS Motorsport Ford Ranger are currently 5th. They got stuck in heavy dust towards the end, but made it home safely.
Johan van Staden and Mike Lawrenson in the Atlas Copco Nissan Navara described the track as a lovely route, and it showed, the pair coming home in 6th position.
Most of our celeb teams, Michael Whitehouse and John Smith in the Region Racing Nissan Navara.
There's another one, I think. Yeah, that's not the one. Okay, 900 meters to a right turn before the fence. 19.
Not bad going at all, John. So Taylor and Murphy in their usual place, first, followed by the Horns, while Berthold and Rousseau round off the front 3.
Moving over to the specials, where it's far tighter at the top than in the production side of things.
His nickname is Maverick, and he lived up to the moniker. Colin Matthews alongside Rodney Burke from Century Racing. The pair were the fastest of the lot, blitzing the route in a time of 1 hour, 13 minutes and 6 seconds.
Second place in class and overall, the championship leaders Quinton and Cully Silvalt in the elegant fuel bat.
Despite a few wrong slots along the way, Lawrence Duplessis and Healy LaRue were third quickest in their Zarko.
Vichard Silvalt, alongside a new navigator, Byron Sykes, grabbed fourth place in the elegant fuel striker.
It's the car-themed Cinzanani Plastics Gym Car Brett Park and VZ Van Zyl who put up a solid performance to finish 3 minutes behind the leaders.
The men from the DRC, Eduardo and Ricardo Agazzi, their bats back for managing the sixth quickest time.
So what a show from Matthews and Burke, almost untouchable on day one. The Silvalts were 50 seconds behind, while Duplessis and LaRue were just over a minute off the pace.
In a playground like Sun City, it's hard to focus on the job at hand, but work has to be done. The hard work, of course, was done out on the route, particularly by the Horns.
I think tomorrow is just to try to keep the position and not to get bunches and then just stay where we are. I think Anthony is 10 seconds in front of us. And the dust is going to be a problem, so just to keep it clean tomorrow.
Second for them in the productions, while the Silvalts are second in the specials.
Unfortunately, we caught Evan, who had a problem about 30 k's from the start, so we got stuck in his dust for about the last 70 k's. So that was a bit difficult, but I think some good practice for tomorrow, because I think tomorrow is going to be a lot more of the same.
As the sun rises over Sun City, it's Matthews and Burke who lead the way on the front of the grid, while Taylor and Murphy are in third spot, but first in productions.
It's an extremely fresh morning here in the Pilanesberg, and we've reached race day at the Force Fuel 450 at Sun City, the fifth leg of the Donaldson Cross Country Championship. Behind me, the leader of the pack, Colin Matthews from Century Racing. Will he stay in front when we reach the finish? Only time will tell.
RG Roots has done it again. You know, he's put together a proper driver's route out there. It's really nice. There's lots of fast stuff, big stuff to catch you out, rocks everywhere. So you've got to keep awake the whole day.
From the specials to the leader of the pack in the productions.
We got a long day ahead of us. I see the sky might give us a little bit of wetness later. Who knows? But it'll make it interesting. I think let's hope for the best.
There will also be plenty of eyes on our celebs.
Well, it is Women's Day, so I suppose we can consider a Jeannie D Day as well. I'm very excited. But I think I chatted to Terence and he said the position that we're starting from today is the best one he's ever had in any of the celebrity laps. So I think we've got a good chance at getting a good position.
Yes, it certainly is the best that he's ever been in. John, bad omen given that it's Women's Day today?
It's not a good sign for us, and I see there's another woman here as well. So the right thing to do is just to fight for third place.
No third place for Matthews and Burke. They had their eyes firmly on the prize, and what a way to get things underway.
The Century Racing pair have had an extremely tough year so far. They are undoubtedly one of the quickest in the Donaldson Cross Country Championship, but unfortunately they've failed to finish 3 races in 2014.
Let's hope the same fate doesn't befall them this time around. And as I say that, it looks as if they're slowing down with what could potentially be a puncture. A terrible start to the race for them.
The Silvalts get their campaign underway, and right behind them, Taylor and Murphy from Castrol Toyota.
Throughout the first day, we heard about how tough it is out in the dust, and it can't be easy for the pair in the Hilux who are literally in the dust of the Silvalts. This is cross-country racing at its best. But their windscreen has suffered as a result, a massive crack tearing across the left side. As if that wasn't bad enough, the dust is making visibility almost impossible. Murphy is really earning his salary now.
Excellent driving from the pair. They've managed to get past the Silvalts, who are first amongst the specials following the puncture suffered by Matthews.
Back on board with Taylor and Murphy now. They're not used to seeing competitors ahead of them, so they have managed to get past the Silvalts. That said, I don't know if they can see much at all, given the fact that their crack really is getting worse in the windscreen. Slowing down now to cross the road, but it looks as if they're really slowing down and they've come to a stop. That's very bad news. Could be a puncture.
Johan and Werner Horn have a slim lead over Berthold and Rousseau, and while the Atlas Copco Ford Racing team are second in class, they have been beautifully overtaken by Duplessis and Leroux. Excellent manoeuvring from them. They continue to put pressure on the productions. The Horns are next in their sights.
On board with the brothers now, and they've been overtaken by the Zarco, but remain in first place amongst the productions. They're yet to win a race, but have found plenty of podiums.
The Argazis, Eduardo and Ricardo, starting off the morning 5th in class, but they've done tremendously well and are now in 3rd position.
One behind them, and it's the one Silvalt, Wichert, alongside Sykes. Wichert still getting to grips with driving. This is only his 2nd race behind the wheel.
Brett Parker and VZ Van Sale dropping to 5th. VZ, one of the more talkative navigators in the championship, and he'll be doing a lot of talking today in this dust.
Going strong is Rustenburg-based pair Willem Vos and Werner Weiss. They're leading the Class S brigade by quite some distance.
Holding on to their starting position of 6th in the specials, the men from KZN, Daniel Brooks and Gavin Gray in the Ducatis Properties bat. They look to be slowing down, hopefully not for technical reasons. Oh, it was just to let Duploy and Janse van Vieren through. The RFS Motorsport Ford Ranger pair fighting their way up the field, aiming for a good result.
5th in Class T, the Atlas Copco Nissan Navara of Johan van Staden and Mike Lawrenson.
First time we were having a look at Leroy Poulter and Rob Howie in the Castrol Toyota Hilux. A puncture in qualifying cost them dearly with a starting position way down the field, but they are making good progress and are currently 6th in class.
The first of our celebs, John Smith and Michael Whitehouse. They may have dropped a place, but are looking solid in 7th. The Regent Racing livery having undergone a makeover, the new grey looking very sleek.
Cautious, eh? Yeah. There's a double caution coming, but that's in 1.5 Ks. And all it really is a right turn and then another right turn over the road. Lean forward, John, lean forward.
John Smith looking very relaxed in the hot seat of the Navara, and in close pursuit, the Cobalt Racing striker of Jimmy Zalis and Zahir Bordagno.
Defending champions Evan Hutchison and Donnie Stassen still searching for their first win of the year, and in fact looking for only their 3rd finish of the season. They're currently 8th in Class A as they ease past the Class B competitors, John Thompson and Maurice Zamatin.
And if that wasn't enough, they now have others in their sights. These two absolutely flying. Next to get the treatment, Yanni Visser and Yorks Leroux. But now a wall of dust awaits them.
So after 70 Ks, Duplessis and Leroux have taken over the front spot, followed by the Silvalts, while the puncture suffered by Matthews and Burke has seen them drop to 3rd amongst the specials. In the productions, we have a new leader in the Horns, Johan and Werner, with the Atlas Copco Ford Ranger, Berthold and Rousseau in 2nd place. New leaders in Class A, Duplessis and Leroux continuing their good form in qualifying.
They'll need to keep their wits about them though, because not far behind, championship leaders Quinton and Cully Silvalt in their elegant fuel bat.
Tremendous performance so far from the Horns. Could they be on their way to their first overall win?
The Maverick Colin Matthews with Rodney Burke. Their earlier puncture hasn't been too disastrous. A podium place still in sight, but there's a lot of racing to come.
Berthold and Rousseau have really come into their own over the last few races. They've finished every race and had an exceptional time in Botswana. They're lying 2nd in Class T.
The Argazzi still lying 4th in the specials following a pretty amazing start to the race.
Deploy and Janse van Vieren got stuck in plenty of dust during qualifying. They've managed to get in the clear so far. They round off the front 3 for now.
First in Class S, Willem Vos and Werner Weiss. They're punching well above their weight.
Brett Parker and VZ Van Sale from Sizanani Plastics are looking solid in 5th place, keeping position and going well.
Still in 6th place, Daniel Brooks and Gavin Gray, their best finish so far being 2nd in KZN, slowing down and pulling to the side, and that's to allow Poulter and Howie to pass them, both vehicles tearing up the terrain.
The pair are looking to redeem themselves following a very tough time in the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. They failed to finish day 2 and then didn't even make it onto the starting grid on day 3. Things looking to be going much better at the Force Fuel 450.
They're closely followed by Van Staden and Lawrenson. They broke a back panel during qualifying, but their Atlas Copco Navarra looks to be in much better condition now.
They're back on the road but find themselves in a very unaccustomed position and having to work extremely hard if they wish to make up lost time. The championship leaders and defending champs Anthony Taylor and Dennis Murphy.
Holding on to 8th position, Michael Whitehouse and our former Bob captain John Smith. The Sharks CEO has a massive love for cars and it shows.
They are, however, being caught by Hutchison and Stassen. The Motorite duo have built up quite a reputation in this race for overtaking production vehicles, and it's not abating. They looked to slow down a tad, but eventually they made their move.
Second in Class S, Yanni Visser and Yorks Leroux. They experienced a clean run in qualifying and things look to be going the same here.
Keith Dutoy and Zander Meer in only their third race this season in the ex-Harper Bat, describing the route as extremely demanding with, surprise, surprise, plenty of dust.
Second in Class P, reigning champions John Thompson and Maurice Madden. They've done very well this year, finding the finish in all but one race.
In their first outing together, Vickard Silvalt and brother-in-law Byron Sykes taking over from the now-retired Hammond and the Elegant Fuel Striker appear to be working well together.
And rounding off the top 10 in productions, Henny de Klerk and Johan Smallberger in the RFS Treasury 1. Henny loving life in his BMW.
The third of the Class Ps, James Watson and John Thompson, apart from a DNF on the RFS 450 in the Free State, they finished every other race.
The second of our Imperial Auto celeb sides, Terence Marsh and Jeannie D, just outside the top 10. And this really has been a very impressive showing from the rookies so far. Let's have a peek inside.
Here's your caution.
Margaret, still going straight, yeah?
No, yeah. And ahead of you is a caution, some more rocks. Keep ahead of you, there's a caution in front of you. Lots of rocks, no trail.
In Group G, the side-by-sides, only one loop for them and Gareth Woolridge and Boyd Dreyer leading the way. Let's get to the DSP with our leaders in the specials.
Ja, dit is lekker. Ek weet nie, dit lyk vir my ons is voor nou sover. Daai laaste stukkie was 'n bietjie erg geweest. Ons moes roetes maar soek. Maar ons het dan die stickers, ons verstaan die stickers daarom. Ons kyk maar net die stickers.
So a great performance so far from the pair, halfway through, and they hold a 32-second lead over the Silvalds, Quinton and Cully, while Matthews and Burke are just under 5 minutes off the pace. Let's catch up with all the front runners in the productions.
Yeah, it's our first time leading a race in the Class D, so we're very happy. We just want to keep it there and just don't make mistakes, no flat wheels, and try to finish and keep our position.
It's a very treacherous route. The Atlas Copco range is really doing its trick out there. We got stuck behind a guy who shortcut and came from the back and we were sitting in the dust. The dust is really bad, but fortunately this Atlas Copco range has got what it takes to take us to the frontier.
Oh my goodness, the second part of the trail was crazy, but I stuck to the book the whole time. I didn't fall out, and I think we did really, really well.
So Johan and Vanna Horn in the Mullilan Toyota Hilux looking good for their first ever victory in Class T, while Bertholt and Rousseau in the Atlas Copco Ford Ranger are 4 minutes and 5 seconds behind them in second place. Duploy and Janse van Vuren in the RFS Ford are third.
They may have finished Loop 1 with a puncture and their throttle may be getting stuck, but Lawrence Duplessis and Hilly LaRue are going very well, leading the way in their Zarco.
In a very similar scenario, Quinton and Cully Silvalt from Elegant Fuel lost third gear 30 k's into the race, but they're managing to stay in second place.
No problems whatsoever for the Horns from Mullilan Toyota. They have their eyes firmly on the top of the podium.
Matthews and Burke in the Century Racing CR3 suffered that puncture very early, and while it did take them off top spot, they've done well to stay in third in the specials and first in P.
Well, there's no stopping Berthalter and Rousseau from Atlas Copco Ford Racing, sitting comfortably in second place amongst the productions.
The Agassiz sitting fourth amongst the specials, having taken advantage of the great start they had. In fact, they were ahead of Berthold and Rousseau for quite a while. The Rangers sat in their dust.
No one slowing down Christian de Ploy and Henk Janse van Vuren. They're third in productions in the RFS Motorsport Ford Ranger.
Still leading the way in Class S, making them fourth amongst the productions, Foss and Weiss, but the pair said at DSP that they battled in the dust over the last 30 Ks of Loop 1.
Poulter and Howie are fourth in Class T. The Castrol Toyota pair enjoying a brilliant race. And here they are passing Parker and Fonsale from Cincinnati Plastics.
.400 kilometers in, and Duplessis and LaRue hold on to first place amongst the specials, followed by the Silvolts, while the Horns lead the way amongst the productions.
The Silvolts have been sensational throughout the year, with Quinton having taken over the driving duties from his dad. And once again, a podium is a distinct possibility, though second.
Victory is just around the corner for Johan and Vanna Horn, barring catastrophe. The brothers from Malelane are on song to secure their first ever win in Class T.
Still in third in the specials, but first in Class P, Matthews and Burke from Century Racing. Look at that dust.
Berthold and Rousseau look to have things a bit more visible. Their Atlas Copco Ford Ranger going from strength to strength following their performance in the Toyota 1000 Desert Race.
Well, dust is very much part and parcel for the Agazis, fourth amongst the specials as they search for only their second finish this year.
Terrible news for Deploy and Janse van Vieren. They out of the race, and that means Polt and Howie on third place amongst the productions, the pair having overtaken Foss and Weiss.
Well, we saw them being overtaken earlier by the Castrol Toyota pair, Parker and Fonsale. They're fifth in the specials.
Moving up a place to sixth, Hutchison and Stassen. A terrific performance from the defending champions in the Motorite Bat Venom, who have been doing plenty of overtaking, including Whitehouse and Smith. Remember, they started the day 19th overall on the grid.
Another production they've passed, Foss and Weiss. Bad news for the pair, who led matters in Class S. That was until hitting a rock and damaging the brake calipers almost within sight of the finish line.
Dropping down to seventh amongst the specials, Daniel Brooks and Gavin Gray in the Ducati's Properties Bat Spec 4.
They're now up to fourth in productions, Van Staden and Lawrenson from Atlas Copco, and they'll be wanting to keep their Nissan in one piece as they're soon off to Namibia for Dakar testing.
Whitehouse and Smith in the Regent Racing Nissan Navara suffered a broken back CV joint but are nursing the car home. They're lying in fifth place.
Following on from his win in Botswana, Elegant Fuels Wichard Silvald is in eighth spot, with new navigator Byron Sykes experiencing his first taste of cross-country racing.
They've now taken over the top place in Class S, former SA champions Yanni Fiss and Joks LaRue in the Rubicon Racing Toyota Hilux.
Staying with productions, but moving up a gear to Class T, Henny de Klerk and Johan Smallberger in the RFS Treasury 1 BMW, sixth in class.
As for the Imperial Auto Celeb team of Terence Marsh and Jeannie D, another exceptional performance from the pair. They've enjoyed a clean run so far and are lying seventh in Class T.
In 10th place amongst the productions, by far their best performance of the season, Luke Buerter and Andre Vermeulen from Force Fuel.
Jason Fenter and Vince van Alleman from 4x4 Mega World have a tricky, rather deep ditch to contend with. What am I saying? No problems there. They're just outside the top 10 despite suffering 3 flats in the first loop.
Marius and Jolanda Ferree have made the move to productions from specials, and they've certainly impressed. They're fourth in Class S, having to contend with their dust, and not far behind, Loda Brain and Rian Grayling from Rubicon Racing.
On board with Kobus van Tonder and Freddie Creel in the Unifreight Ford Ranger, and there's confirmation of the fate that befell Christian Deploy and Henk Janse van Vieren. Heartbreaking for the pair from RFS Motorsport.
No heartbreak for Lawrence Duplessis and Hilly LaRue. First place in Class A with a blistering performance.
Okay, gents, how was that?
Lekker, baie lekker.
What about the dust?
Ja, die eerste rond het ek 'n bietjie dust gehad, maar die tweede rond het ons dit bietjie tot by die Quinton is toe gaan dit beter. Maar was lekker.
The pair grabbed their second win of the season, finishing over 5 minutes clear of Quinton and Cully Silvalt, while Matthews and Burke from Century Racing finished third.
In the productions, it was a very special performance from the Horns from Malalan, their first ever winning Class T and very popular victors.
Johan, you must be a very happy man.
Yes, definitely. We're very happy. We can only thank our team, Malalan Toyota, for preparing the car so well. And I must thank Werner for today. He was on the spot today.
The Horns going straight to the top of the podium, while the Atlas Copco Ford Racing Pierre Berthold and Rousseau claimed second place, rounding off the top three, Castrol Toyota's Polter and Howie.
As for the Imperial Auto celebs, John Smith was exceptional with the roadbook and heads the standings with 11 points. Jeannie D and AJ Fenter are tied at 8 points.
In the beginning, I didn't think that I was that good. But then on the second track, when we were passing grown men that do this professionally, I thought, maybe John and I are onto something here.
Sure, it was an enjoyable experience, and I flip out, definitely come back, even if it is to watch. But I must say, it is exhausting. I haven't done this much calculation since my matric year, to be honest.
From Sun City to Cattle Country.
Next month, we return to Freiburg for one of the most popular races on the Donaldson Cross Country calendar.
It's all about beef, farming, and motor racing. Don't miss it.
The Donaldson Cross Country Championship, brought to you by Donaldson Filtration Systems, a market leader in filtration solutions.